Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to our All Schools Pima County Health Department update for May 12th. Thank you for joining. As usual, the meeting will be recorded. I first wanted to start out by saying Happy School Nurses Day yesterday. We celebrated a little bit with an email that went out yesterday, but I wanted us to recognize school nurses and health assistants today. I know that it's a group that doesn't get recognized a lot, and so we wanted to kind of celebrate a little bit. Thank you, school nurses and health assistants, for all you do. So I'll leave you to read that for a second, and then I'll move on. Whoops. Okay, so the agenda for today, first we'll have announcements, the COVID data update, and resources and a Q&A. I don't have a speaker today. We have a few things to talk about with COVID, and then I thought we could possibly end early, and everyone who has not done the survey can go ahead and spend time doing that. So that's what I have on my mind. Announcements. Thank you, those of you who have submitted your survey. But if you haven't, please do send us information so we can do planning and know how you feel. We really appreciate hearing what you have on your mind. So the COVID-19 data update. So the last I saw this morning was listed as of the 8th of May. We're still in a low community level. We're 9.06 test positivity. That's up a little bit in the last 7 days, and not an emergency amount. And we are just up a tiny bit with our fully vaccinated 5 and up, and then up for 12 and up, fully vaccinated with their first booster dose is a tiny bit up. It's not huge numbers, but every little bit helps. And the community level, of course, everybody knows is still low. 48.7 case rate, and admissions in the hospital still low. So that's a good thing. Testing in Pima County, the percent positivity is 9.06 as of the 8th. And that's a little bit of a uptick since in the last 7 days. And then the data for the testing is even older. This was the latest one as of this morning. I think they do it once a week. I don't know when. It looks like it should be once a week. It maybe should have changed yesterday, but I don't know exactly what's going on. But they've had a little bit less testing, which we've been seeing for a while. So we wanted to talk a little bit about continued COVID response. We are still dealing with COVID, and people are on the line who can answer your questions if you have EPI questions, if you have testing questions. So as we go through this, please either put your questions in the chat or unmute yourself and speak up. So we're still encouraging use of home test kits and encouraging families to report the results. And that includes reporting for with the information that's on the test kit for parents or families to report, as well as reporting to the schools. And the schools, if you're not reporting positive cases with the necessary information, then like names and identifying information, which a lot of schools, most schools are not now because we're not in emergency mode anymore, then we are unable to do contact tracing. I think most of you know that. It's not expected that schools do their own contact tracing either. So that's kind of where we're at. And schools are encouraged to notify families of outbreaks, 3 or more cases, and are welcome to use our outbreak letter template or create your own, modify it as you see it fit to have it work for you. And I put a link on our resources slide for the English and Spanish versions of that outbreak letter. we are still having outbreaks. And like I said at the top, we're still dealing with COVID. And I'm sure with summer school, that's going to continue. We do acknowledge and appreciate the schools who have been tracking and reporting reporting outbreaks. For schools who need any clarity on how or when to report an outbreak, please reach out to school support. We're going to be here all summer, so those of you with summer school will continue on with you. I put this on here because I just wanted to do a quick review of what the county offers for programs. Some of you have expressed interest in the Narcan training, the QPR training for suicide prevention, and the mental health first aid. So it gives you a little bit about those trainings and others here on from our website. And then information at the bottom if you want to get more information or you want to find out when some of these trainings are taking place. And I also found this. I've been searching around in all the different sites, and when I find things, I think, oh, probably everybody probably already knows this, but this is kind of a cool poster-like deal of information. And so I thought I'd just put it on here to remind everyone about the communicable diseases and how to report. So it's kind of just a review. The resources page, I didn't redo a lot of, but I did add that outbreak letter, parent guardian outbreak letter there. If you have any questions or need that, please contact us. The school support team information is at the bottom, and we're always happy to answer questions, take your phone calls. So please reach out. Okay, questions and answers. Anybody have any questions? It says our school has a surplus of individual, oh, I lost it. Let's see. Individual tests. Let's see, let me pull that back up. Is there a means of passing these tests on to schools or groups who need them? Is there anyone online who knows an answer to that?
Hi, my name's Erica. I am able to coordinate that with you. I'm going to put my email in this chat here. So if you would just like to email me, I'll coordinate that with you. I really appreciate you letting us know. It helps us not waste resources, which is really awesome. So thank you for that.
Sweet. Thank you, Erica. Any other questions? Oh, and Christy says that they could absolutely use more individual tests. So there we're making connections. Thank you. Any other questions?
Hey, Connie, this is Kathy Steinley. Did you want to just speak a little bit that we are beginning to see influenza locally? And I think ADHS just put out the weekly report showing that cases throughout the state. I think last week there were over 900 cases identified, and that may complicate when you're trying to figure out what you're looking at with a child with respiratory symptoms between COVID, influenza, and the ever-present allergies.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. As somebody from EPI online that wants to talk a little more about that, you've been getting the outbreaks in your department.
I will. Hi, everybody. This is Kat. So I will say our influenza season has been very strange this year and is happening much later than normal. So normally we aren't looking at a lot of cases in May, but we are seeing a bigger increase this time of year than what we would normally see. So just keep in mind, if somebody is showing up to school sick, you can test them. If they test negative with COVID, but they still have symptoms, then they should remain at home. And if they have a fever or whatever, it's similar mitigation. So they should remain at home until they are naturally fever-free for 24 hours, regardless of if it's COVID or flu or just another symptomatic situation. So their symptoms should improve and their fever should go away for 24 hours before they return to school. And that will help with flu outbreaks as well as COVID and other respiratory conditions. But yes, we still have COVID and flu shots available. We don't recommend a second flu shot if somebody already received their flu shot, but they have not received their flu shot. Normally we wouldn't, this isn't really the season, but we are still making them available this year because the season's gone so late. So those are available at the Abrams building.
And Kat, this is Kathy again. The only thing I would add maybe is if you have a student that tests negative for COVID at the school site and appears ill and you're not sure what you're looking at, telling the parent that they might want to get a flu test would probably be prudent, because I don't think our parents are necessarily thinking flu because we've been so focused on COVID for so long.
Yes, absolutely. And there's some devices that will do kind of a full respiratory panel. They're few and far between, but somewhere like an urgent care might have that. So then they can be tested for multiple respiratory viruses at once. So yes, definitely flu testing can be recommended to those, even if their student tested negative for COVID. Exactly. Thank you, Kathy.
And if there is an outbreak, I'll just add, it might be very helpful for all parents to get the letter notifying them that there has been an outbreak in the classroom, because then they are more apt to catch it if their child starts having symptoms. So using those outbreak letters might help too.
And if the child is tested positive and they catch it early enough, there is a possibility they can get Tamiflu or some other measures to help mitigate how sick they get. So recommending to get the children tested is probably a good idea.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hi, it's Kathy one more time. I'm being a pain in the butt. I also saw Shalisa from PMG was on and was talking about clinics for COVID and flu vaccines over the summer. Is there any way as summer goes on that those clinics can be expanded to include back to school shots, which I think would probably make it more attractive to some of our parents to access those clinics if they could also have like the MMRs and DTaPs and things available? Is that a possibility or not by the PMG people?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. That's actually what we are doing now. I've actually been contacting several schools and letting them know because we will be including all childhood vaccines as well.
Then we'll be talking. Thank you. I'm really pleased to hear that, because I think that will help get more parents to come to these clinics.
Awesome.
So thank you so much. And also take the weight off, frankly, the health department clinics that get slammed with the back to school crowd.
Exactly. Yes. Okay.
We're hoping next week to have the health department immunization clinic head come to this meeting and talk a little more about what they have planned for back to school shots and things like that. So stay tuned for next week and we'll give you more information about that from the health department also. Anything else? Anybody has anything else to add or ask about? Okay, well, everybody, we're headed into the heat, which means everybody's headed into the air conditioners. So we'll see what happens for spreading all this stuff around. But hopefully everybody will have a great week and we'll see you next Thursday. Thank you for coming. And don't forget the survey.